I know this, that we can ban glyphosate from use in public areas. That doesn't have any impact at all on the ability of the public to use it in their backyard, their garden, or on their, or you know, at their gate. So how much we would achieve by the expenditure of $18 million, if that is the figure, remains to be seen. I've had a list drawn up of research that's been done in the US, Canada, Europe. There's 2 reports from the WHO which seem to be inconsistent each with the other, and the Environmental Protection Authority in New Zealand. The overwhelming opinion is that it is unlikely to be carcinogenic. If I thought there was an argument that it was carcinogenic, that would be game, set, match. That doesn't mean to say that it won't have effects on people in other ways that might not be life-threatening but might be damaging to their skin condition or whatever. But I would have thought that if we're going to take a big step involving the expenditure of a lot of money, we wouldn't do it in the manner that we're proposing to do it, either here or on Thursday. It would be part of a wider program for the long-term plan, and that's why I'd support Councillor Holz's recommendation. It is also in my mind, I know some people have said to me, well, the Environment Protection Authority has said, no, it's okay, but I don't trust them. The other option we've got is going to the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, who is widely seen as her own person and an independent person. And what I want to do before we put anything out to consultation is that we've got to have something harder in terms of facts about cost and about risk than what we've got now. If we're going to do this, and I'm sympathetic to where the movers of the original motion are coming from, but if we're going to do this, you have to have it properly prepared. This is not a debating society where we say, yeah, that's a good resolution and it makes me feel better. We're about to expend a huge amount of public funds. And if we don't have the hard evidence to back that up, then there are going to be people that ask us where we're coming from and why we're doing it in this way. I'm prepared to take the time to do this properly. I know there is concern out there in some sections of the population, but we are doing nobody any favour by bringing something in at this short notice and not doing it in the thorough manner of analysis and consultation that we need to do. The long-term plan is the place where we need to tackle this issue, and we should be trying to get somebody with the expertise and the independence to advise us on it, and that's why I think an approach to the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment would be worthwhile. So my view would be to support the resolution that Penny Holz has put up. I don't think we gain anything simply by putting it off for 2 days. That does not give us the time to do that thoroughly. If we are to make the original recommendation, then we need to make it on the basis of full evidence and full analysis and proper and full due process. So very strongly I would back the resolution moved by Councillor Holz.
Just a point of order, Mr Chair. I mean, Mr Goff's mentioned a figure of, was it 9 million or 18 million?
18 million was the figure given to us.
The figure I've got here is $950,000.
Yeah.
The last LTP, which resulted in the reversal of this previously chemical-free, had no great details with it. It just appeared in the long-term plan consultation, increased spraying instead of mechanical edging. There was no great study or information produced at that point. So I would say let's wait to Thursday and come back with the figures rather than trumpeting up 18 million when the figures here for restoring mechanical edging is 950,000. So let's get the right figures.
Well, what I think we've got to make sure is that we're comparing apples and apples. I'm giving you in good faith, just like you've given me those figures, John, in good faith, I'm giving you in good faith the advice that I've received from officials. But we need to have a strong factual basis before we put some document out for consultation that will look like it's half-baked. If we can't even reach agreement between the difference between 900,000, which is doable, and $18 million, which would put a huge amount of pressure on the system that would not probably be seen as value for money if people are still using glyphosate in their backyard. So that's the point I'm making. If we're going to do this, let's do it properly. Let's get the agreed facts so we know what we're putting out for consultation.
We've got the agreed facts because we've already been through it, Mr Mayor.
Well,
in the long-term plan, so the agreed facts are there.
Okay, order. Can I just say, I think with a little bit of confusion, Councillor Watson, is the 18 million possibly over 20 relates to all roadways as well. So that's a figure for including everything, but I think perhaps your figures on that are a little bit light on what's intended for the park. So I'm going to take this 3 more people. We've got to give them the chance to speak.
Mr Chairman, I didn't speak because I thought we were deferring the item till Thursday.
No, I'm going to give the 3 speakers and then we're going to decide.
Well, I'd like to speak then, if we're not.
So we haven't decided whether we're not or not. So Councillor Philippone.
Thank you, Chair. I think just the discussion that we've just had with His Worship the Mayor and John sort of is the reasoning, I think, from my perspective, why, one, I will not be supporting Councillor Watson and Walker's amendment, because we're hearing figures being bandied around. We need to do the work. And, you know, I mean, I remember at a discussion around this particular issue that it was 18 to 20 million. Now, that may well include, as the Chair has said, around the roads and not specifically the reserves that's been in there in urbanised areas. So, Chair, for me, look, it needs to be put off, and it doesn't need to be put off till Thursday, because I don't really know how much information we will get in the next couple of days. So definitely not supporting Councillor Watson and Walker's amendment, but staying with Councillor Holson and myself. Thank you.
Just through you, Mr Chair, could we perhaps just ascertain that through Matthew then? Does the figure of 18 million refer to roadways and all other areas? Or does the figure of 950,000 refer to the amendment which goes to public parks and reserves?
I don't know. So that's the reason why it needs to go long term.
I know they were told last week they were
I'm
going
going to Councillor Cashmore and then Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I think one thing we all agree upon is we want to minimise the use of chemicals. I know I certainly do, but we need to do that in a manner which is appropriate and sensible. The UN and the EU can't agree on glyphosate. They have kept contradicting scientific studies, both of them. We need the facts, and we've got contradictions today between the Mayor and Councillor Watson, and we need to get the facts about that. I don't think we're going to get that in 24 hours, because the only is tomorrow before Thursday morning. So we need to understand the implications. We need to be cognizant of the other options, and I want to hear more about Councillor Watson and Walker's idea of just doing public parks, playgrounds and so forth. So I'd like to understand that thoroughly. I don't think we need to have a knee-jerk response or an emotional reaction. We need to take advice from our professional agencies, from the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, get the best sound advice we have. And if that means we have to wait until the LTP, I'm all for that. Let's do it properly and let's do it once, because this is a very big and a very serious issue. And it's not to be taken lightly or in the heat of the moment.
Councillor Cooper.
Thank you. I agree with the Deputy Mayor and the mover and seconder. I think that we're not going to have any different views within a couple of, a day and a bit. It's just not possible. I want to make sure that we've got good faith and we do this properly, because there's different sides of this argument. We need to take into account everything, and I would rather that we dealt with this now, so that we've got a direction. We're just going to have the same conversations on Thursday, and we've got a big day on Thursday. I think we just get on with this. It gives us some really good scope in this next year to look at reducing, but then we have a proper consultation when we're going out to consultation anyway. And I think that's really useful, and it gives an option for local boards to work that up with their own communities as well. So I would hope, Mr Chairman, that you choose to put both these amendments today so we can get them behind us, and then it can be worked up for the LTP.
So are there any more speakers on this topic? Councillor Casey, sorry.
Thank you. I thought you were deferring it. If you're not, the people that are talking about a knee-jerk reaction, every single annual plan of this council in the last, every single long-term plan of this council we've had representations to be spray-free, either locally or regionally. It's not new. We've had the debate umpteen times. It may be new for some councillors, and I can appreciate that they may want more information by Thursday, which is fine by me. But to say that somehow we're responding knee-jerkly is, we're not suggesting a spray-free Auckland, because that would be a knee-jerk reaction. It would be wonderful, but it would be a knee-jerk reaction. If you look carefully at the amendment, I mean, look at what's being proposed. It's to consult with the public. And as I said, in all these years, that's what they've asked for, to be consulted. It may just be a minority that want that. That will come in through the public consultation. As for the costs, the one suggestion up there is a targeted rate. It's already been done in some places. It's possible the costings are there. Thursday doesn't need to be a big deal. I think this is a really, too measured for me. It's a really measured response to what has been a very emotive issue over many, many years. And so I am supporting the amendment, and I would like everybody else to do it as well. So read it carefully. It's about going out to consult on this, to ask the people of Auckland what they think about their local area. And I think you'll be surprised at the results.
Okay, this is on this topic?
Yes, it is.
Yes, Councillor Fletcher.
Mr Chairman, I can say, and I'm sure that Councillor Lee will support me, that Auckland Transport has detailed information on this that would be readily available prior to Thursday if you wish to take the debate on the Thursday, and then we would be working from a position of facts. At the moment, I think that it is quite correct to say that we don't have those facts. So I'm saying let's get the information from Auckland Transport. They've given very detailed consideration to this. Have that for Thursday and allow councillors to express their view on it at that time. But Councillor Casey's quite right to say that this has come up as a perennial every single annual plan, and it probably is important to go and consult, but we do need to consult on the basis of good information. And that information is available, but it just isn't available to us right at this moment. So I would prefer to see us delay until Thursday.
Councillor Hills.
Through you, Mr Chair. I want to support Penny Holz's amendment, mainly because I'm a little bit confused about the details. My issue with it is, as a local board, we supported increasing, putting our own money into it, which was $54,000 a year, but that was in the space of mechanical edging for the pathways and parks, but it wasn't clear in the divisions. Also, a lot of our volunteer groups are very environmentally friendly. They were still supportive of using weed in parks and reserves in certain areas, so I'm concerned that if we say completely free, what that actually means, and will there be an ability to get rid of some of the extremely invasive weeds that even the environmental groups need to use, or are we just, it's not specific enough for me, and yeah, the money sort of things as well. So I think it's better to support Councillor Holz's amendment at the moment. I'm supportive of it, but I just need more information, and I'm a little bit wary of what we can actually go out there and say we're doing completely free when it's not actually completely free, potentially.
Councillor Lee.
Just to start off with a question, Mr Chairman, is this the last opportunity for such amendments to the proposed annual plan, or could it be held over and brought back in the new year after further discussion and thought? Because it seems like there's going to be a knockout situation here, when we really need to work towards a consensus on such an emotive matter.
I'm going to do through the chair, and I'd like Matthew to respond to that, because there are time restrictions on the adoption of the consultation material and the audit of that same material by Audit New Zealand. So Matthew, would you please respond?
Yeah, just through the chair. So look, it is mainly logistics. So the operational reality this time of year is it's necessary to have approved content for consultation through this committee this side of Christmas, so that staff can get the consultation document underway. staff are having holidays as well as are you, and bring it back for adoption in February. So it's logistically pretty tough to come back in the new year needing to have you adopt a consultation document in February to honour our consultation requirements, but not know what that content is.
Okay, well, there's certainly been a foreshadowing that there is concerns about this area, and members must be aware that there is a resolution from the Regional Strategy Committee in September, after a very long and very public debate on this matter, which came down on the side of differentiating spray regimes or weed control regimes in public playgrounds as opposed to, remote parkland where there are invasive weeds that do need spraying. And I think everyone is aware that there will be a need to spray, but not where there are kids playing.